to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our October 30th, 2023 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including wishing you a happy Halloween. We're going to be talking about the return of Superman 30th Anniversary Special. I've got some news for Australian fans looking forward to My Adventures with Superman, and we've got some comic book stuff to talk about and so much more. We're also going to turn to you to ask for your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show. Let me introduce you to a very punctual Michael Bailey. Hello, Michael.
I was technically on time.
You were. So I'd say very punctual.
Is your microphone far away from you?
It is. There, sorry.
If I was on time, we would have this figured out before the show. So this is actually my fault.
No. It's all me. I always have it to the side of me because it's right in my way when I'm typing, and then I always forget to put it in front of me when I'm talking. But thank you for that. How are you?
Well, that's it. Rather busy, but that's okay. Managed to get my review done on time, which is good. I was glad for that.
Mm-hmm.
As in it's coming out tomorrow, and I turned it in yesterday, which is still technically on time.
Yes, indeed. You're very just on time with everything at the moment.
Yeah, so no, everything's fine. But no one wants to hear about that. I mean, maybe they want to hear about my review, but they'll get to read that tomorrow. What they want to hear is us talk about Superman, because Superman Homepage Live is all about the Man of Steel, and we want to hear from the people that are watching us right now on a variety of platforms. So, about halfway through the show, if we don't have a lot to talk about, we will take callers. And you can do that by going to supermanhomepage.com/live and pressing the Call Now button. There you'll sit in the very swank green room. That'll look a lot like whatever room you're in, but you're just staring at a screen. Or if you want to use your phone, you can scan the QR code that says "Scan Me," and that will put you in the same room, which again, you will not be really in a room. It's all virtual. But in either case, if you're using your computer and using an external speaker, or if you're using your phone and trying to just talk into the phone on speaker, please don't do that. We're on a bit of a delay, and the whole cell phone thing, there's a weird crackling thing that we really can't figure out.
Yeah, and yeah, if you're going to use that, getting call in, then use an external speaker. Don't use an external speaker. Use your headset as well. It kind of makes things a bit easier. And if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get on the phone tonight and call in to talk to us, then feel free to participate in the comments, both on YouTube and Facebook. You can chat with other fellow listeners and watchers who are right there now. Justin, Michael, JP and others are tuning in live right now. You can chat with them. You can also chat with us, because Michael and I, we check out those comments. We keep an eye on what's happening, what you're saying. We will react to any questions or comments you might have, so feel free to participate there. And if you want to use a super chat on YouTube, that's very simple too. You click on the dollar symbol there, a slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we'll feature your comment or question live on the screen during the show. There are also super stickers and super thanks. And speaking of people who contribute to the show, thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham and John Patrick Van Pelt. We appreciate your support. And you can join those fine folks and support the Superman homepage by clicking the join button on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you can chip in for just as little as $1. So we appreciate any support we get. Well, Mike, it's been a relatively quiet week in the world of Superman. Not a lot going on at the moment, but what's been happening in the world of the Baileys leading up to Halloween? You guys do a big job of... I know your wife's really into that, isn't she?
No, we're getting ready for the move.
Yeah.
So she's been taking advantage of like getting for wherever we're gonna eventually set all the stuff she's always kind of wanted for the house. But we don't live in a neighborhood we don't really live in a neighborhood. It's like a street in a street, in all honesty, and there's not many kids on it. So plus the area of the United States I live in, they call it the Bible Belt for a reason, and there's not. I mean, there's like people doing trick or treating, but most people like try to do trunk or treat, where they get like a bunch of cars in a parking lot
Okay,
and have the kids go around that. Um,
bit safer.
so, uh, yeah, but not as fun. I
No.
mean, I loved it when I was. I loved it when I was a kid, and we would have to figure out a costume and go out and get a bunch of candy and have my parents take whatever the ones they liked. Um, I mean, they never called it tribute, but looking back, that's kind of how it feels.
Right. Okay.
Um, they were checking for razors, and then my mom takes all the mounds. So, but yeah, because you guys are slowly getting into it, but it's not a really big thing over there, is it?
No, it's not a really big thing here. I've seen certain houses really go out all out, and it seems to be gaining more ground every year. But in our street over the years, we haven't had too many young families. This year, we've got a few more. The kids that are in our. We live in a cul-de-sac, so it's a pretty safe street to walk around in. The kids are getting a little bit older. They were toddlers before. Now they're getting a little bit older, so we might have a few. We've got some candy or chocolate prepared just in case, and if nobody comes a knocking, then we'll just eat them ourselves.
It's a win-win.
One year they did a really good thing where somebody in the neighborhood said, "Look, we don't want to bug anybody if they don't want to be involved. So here's a balloon." They put it in your letterbox, and they said, "If you want to be involved, then simply blow up the balloon, put it on your door or your letterbox, and we will know that yes, you are keen to be involved. Otherwise, we'll just if we don't see it, we'll bypass your house." Although that's a smart idea, but I haven't seen that one for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Here it's if the lights are off.
Okay.
Um, that usually means that they don't want it. There was always somebody that gave out apples. And then there were people like would give out nickels, which when you're a kid, a nickel, even when I was even in the '80s, a nickel was not going to get you too much.
Boring.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it's
and
daylight
then there were the
savings
people that
here at
gave
the
out
moment, so
toothbrushes.
oh, toothbrushes, that's great. Yeah, well, if you're gonna eat all that candy, you need a toothbrush afterwards. But it's still pretty light out here till about 8 o'clock at night. So yeah, the lights on, lights off thing wouldn't really work here. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, if you are partaking in Halloween festivities, either tonight here in Australia or tomorrow night there in the US or wherever you are in the world, stay safe, have fun, and I kind of wore a T-shirt that was appropriate to the occasion. It's got a bit of a
A little
skull
skull,
there,
yeah, that
yeah,
works.
so it works. It's still a Superman shirt, so I thought that's one I'll pull out this time of year. Very good. All
All right,
right.
what do we got
Well,
on the docket tonight?
yeah. Well, we don't have any movie news to start with, so I thought I would jump straight into the television side of things. Where, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Australian fans can look forward to the premiere of My Adventures with Superman on November 6th. So Monday, November 6th at 9:10 p.m. on Fox 8. You'll be able to watch the first episode of My Adventures with Superman. So unlike Canada and the USA, it's at a reasonable hour. 10 past 9 in the evening is not midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning. It's later in the evening, but still a reasonable hour.
I'm glad you guys are finally getting it. I
Mm.
really am.
I mean, I've seen them all, obviously, because
I
I've
mean,
been doing
you got to
reviews.
see all of them, but
Yes.
the rest of the country now gets to see it.
That's right. So that's really good. And as I said, November 6th, Monday night, 9:10 p.m. on Fox 8. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what Australian fans think of the show. So there is that. I mentioned Halloween at the obviously being tomorrow night there in the US. I did a little PDF Halloween booklet for Superman fans. If you've got kids or yourself, you're interested in doing some Halloween type stuff. There's 8 pages, 9 pages including the cover, but it's got cryptograms, it's got a maze, it's got double puzzles, it's got hidden messages, it's got a word search. There's all kind of puzzles in there that refer to both Superman and Halloween. It's free. All you have to do is put your name and email address into the form found at our website, and you can download that 9-page PDF file for free. Just a little thing I put together in light of Halloween.
Nice. I think you missed an opportunity to spell cryptogram with a K.
True. So yeah, if you're keen, you can download that now from supermanhomepage.com. All right. Beyond that, there really isn't any other TV news or movie news. As I said, it's
No.
very quiet on that front. We still have no news as to what's happening with Superman and Lois season 4. Like, there hasn't been any update on that side of things. We don't.
Well, we know they lost some writers.
Right.
And Adam's kill me. Adam Malinger. I don't know why I'm screwing up the name Adam, but his last name's fine. Came out on X. I guess we have to call it. We can't call it Twitter anymore. Um, that he won't be. That he wasn't part of the writing staff anymore, which is a real shame because he was one of the real like diehard fans on the writing staff. So all of the cuts that the show, it wasn't just the cast. It apparently is like stem to stern. So, but yeah, this is like the most dead it's ever been. Usually we have something like I would have killed for like Zack Snyder to post like a black and white photo of Henry Cavill eating a sandwich in the Superman costume. At least then we could add some movie news to talk about.
Yes. Yeah. True. We do know Henry Cavill is starring in an upcoming Guy Ritchie film.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously no longer involved with Superman. So Henry Cavill fans can look out for that in the next. I think it's in the next few months. So yeah, apologies to anybody on YouTube who has seen live ads feeding through the live show. It's probably a setting factor that I need to look into on YouTube to make sure that live ads aren't playing during the broadcast. So yeah, I will look into that after the show, so make sure that I turn anything like that off moving forward. So just bear with us for today, and we'll fix that for future shows.
That's weird. You figure with a live it wouldn't. I mean, I could see it like if it's like a pre-existing video, because then they can just put it in the most annoying spot ever.
Mid-reel.
But at least they don't try to take us down every once in a while because we're playing a clip and promoting something and not getting paid for it.
All right, well, it is the last show of October, so it is the time of the month that we do our regular monthly segment, and that is the Super Secret Soundbite. So let's get into that right now.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
All right, well, this was the Super Secret Soundbite from last month. Have a listen again.
The City Saves Superman by Lois Lane, Clark Kent, and Jimmy Olsen. That's us!
Yes, that was a clip from the My Adventures with Superman animated series, which we already spoke about. I believe it was Hearts of the Fathers, the finale of season 1. So we had 2 people guess it right. Who were they, Michael?
They were Alex Davis and Patrick O'Neill.
Congratulations to those 2 guys for guessing where in the world of Superman that sound came from. Here is our new Super Secret Soundbite for the month of November.
If there's anyone present who objects to this wedding, let him speak now or forever hold his peace.
I object!
Do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? If you do, send in your answer. All you have to do is go to supermanhomepage.com. Under the contact menu, you will find the Super Secret Soundbite Contest entry form. Fill out the form, send your entry in, and we'll read out the names of each person who guesses it right when we return to this segment at the end of November. I think the music that came at the end there kind of gives it away a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little obvious, but not in a bad way.
It would be nice to see if they know the specifics to where that came from, not just the location. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, we like to get specific there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see who can guess where that one came from specifically. All right, but if you just know roughly, we'll still include you. Don't worry, we're not going to be too harsh on that. So yeah, get involved in the Super Secret Soundbite. we'll come back to that at the end of November on our last show for that month. All right, let's jump into an early This Week in History, Michael.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
So the end of the month is always kind of a weird time for these things because I don't have access to the real world stuff when we go from like the last day of the month into the new month. That is not a problem this week. Apparently, absolutely nothing of import happened from November 1st to the 4th in the world of Superman in the real world. We did get a bunch of comics though, so we're going to go back to 1943 to start things off with Superman number 26. Which has that didn't age well, but contextually it's still not right, but we're just gonna move on from that. Nothing like that probably happened in the actual issue.
Probably not.
1953 we have Action Comics number 187, which is always awesome, having a cover watching people watch Superman. Though, of course, there's something to do with kryptonite. That's a shocker. There was also a Tommy Tomorrow Space Planeteer backup in that. We also have Superman number 86, just because of how the things... the dragon from King Arthur's court. That's actually kind of a cool cover. I'm surprised they got away with that. But it was right before the code, so that probably is one of the reasons. 1963, we have Action Comics number 307. And if you can't tell, Action Comics usually came out at the end of the month. We have Superman's Wedding Day. No, it's not Superman marrying that person. Or Supergirl's Wedding Day, excuse me. So still in the blue skirt, so we're still early in her career. Also, we have Adventure Comics number 315. Which just shows that Superboy as a kid was kind of a jerk, especially if he grew to gargantuan size. That's some weird tiddlywinks there.
His feet,
it's like a giant erect. Yeah. 1973, we have shockingly Action Comics number 431. Which, God, these Nick Cardy covers are really good.
Yeah.
They just were really dynamic. Superman's face is a little softer, but I just really dig the art. And apparently Action Green Arrow as a backup feature. In 1983, we're tripping into early November here with DC Comics Presents number 66, with Superman fighting the Demon against Blackbriar Thorn. It's kind of a mouthful.
Yeah.
We also had Justice League of America number 223, which kind of foresees an Avengers movie. So there you go. Though you could tell it's a Jerry Conway Justice League story because Aquaman is actually doing something. A lot of Justice League writers during the 70s did not like Aquaman, apparently. In 1993, we are still in Spilled Blood. Oh, man. This was the second cut with High Tech. Excuse me, High Tech. Who was shockingly had like more appearances than just this story and the one that introduced her. She was in a Showcase 96 issue, which kind of surprised me. But yeah, Spilled Blood was that was a story that had characters in it. In 2003, we have Legion number 25, and I included this because Superboy is on the cover. This is when Superboy Connor Kent was. You remember this was kind of weird where it was Superboy, but he was in like the Superboy costume.
Weird.
As part of the Legion. It was kind of cool, and then they eventually had like a special that resolved all of that. But yeah, he was both in the Jeff Johns series and in the future at the same time. It was kind of cool. Speaking of the Teen Titans Outsider Secret Files 2003 number 1. Back when Secret Files were a thing.
Yep.
I'm relatively certain that Superboy has a entry in that. And then in 2013, it was certainly a week. Krypton Returns Part 1 kicks off in Action Comics Annual number 2 with the epic and long-lived villain L. I'm never not going to make fun of this character.
Yep.
I'm never not going to make fun of this character. He was terrible.
Yep.
We also had Smallville Season 11 Special number 3, which has a really cool Lex Luthor cover where he is either scheming something evil or deciding what he's going to order at the restaurant. And Teen Titans Annual.
He needs to shave.
Do I need to shave? Does the head need to go? And then there was Teen Titans Annual number 2 because we really had to explain the origin of Superboy, and it is every bit. If you ever read the origin of the New 52 Superboy, like the full origin of it, and it sounds like something from like the X-Men from the 90s. Keep in mind that Scott Lobdell wrote this, and he was an X-Men writer in the 90s. You got Barry Kitson and Art T-Bear on art. God, I gotta take a look at that at some point. At least it's gonna look good. But that is really it for this week in history. There was not much to talk about.
No, that was it. And as you said, nothing in the real world. No birthdays, no anniversaries. So yeah, you didn't have to do much on that side of things. So that's good. There you have it.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
It was
very good. All right.
So what do we got next?
Let's move into the comic book world, and Action Comics 1058 came out this past week. Dark Mirror. Mark Lax, who usually calls in, did review this one for us, and we spoke to him last week about it. It's part 2 of the New Worlds, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and it's an interesting issue. I don't know if you have caught up yet.
No, I'm still a little behind, but this week was my week to kind of catch up on everything. I've got them all loaded on the iPad, so we're gonna see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it though. That's a really cool cover.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Mark gave it a 4 out of 5 rating, saying it was a fun story that moves the action along and takes us closer to the final battle. And it's always kind of fun to see Clark Kent fighting Superman. And that's obviously there on the cover as a kind of a hint to what's happening in the story. But I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it yet. But not a bad issue. And there's also the backup stories. The second one, Secret Identity Part 1 by Gene Lewin Yang. So no more Dan Jurgens' story. I did see a few people complaining online that DC cancelled Dan Jurgens' story. And I said, I don't think they cancelled it. I think he'd done telling the story he wanted to tell for that backup element. So I don't think anyone really cancels Dan Jurgens.
Yeah, you can't. One of the great things about Dan Jurgens is that he has managed to have a pretty healthy career and stay in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was really glad that we got the Young John story that we had as the backup, and we're going to get a really cool trade paperback out of that.
Yep.
Which I dig. I think they're just moving away. It seems like, especially at the beginning of the year, they're going to be moving away from this the current format. And I don't know if that's because it wasn't selling or they were just like, okay, we tried this, now we're going to try something else.
Yeah, I mean, for a while now, Action Comics has had 3, like a main story and 2 backup stories, and this one has a third one called Panic at the Parade, which is Bibbo babysitting the Super Twins while a parade's going on and all havoc ensues. But as we know, next year it will be Superman Superstars will be taking place right throughout Action Comics for the whole year, and with different writers and artists coming in to tell what stories they want to tell for that 12-month period, with Philip Kennedy Johnson moving on from Superman, but which is sad in a way, but he has been on for 3 years, as we mentioned last week, and it'll be interesting to see what the new creative people can bring to the title moving forward in 2024.
Yeah, and really, when you think about it, somebody being on a title for years and years and years and years is just not something that one was all that common, even like back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yep.
The super books were kind of an outlier, as were the Batman books. But even then, like let's look at Chuck Dixon writing Detective Comics. He did it from like 1992 to 1999. And that's a good chunk of the 90s, but still it's like 7 years. You don't see what you mainly see these days, especially with contemporary comics, is like a writer being on for like 2 or 3 years, telling a big story and then moving on.
Yeah.
And with Johnson, we got 2 big stories. We got, or 3 now that he's in the midst of his 3rd one. And no one really probably expected Warworld to last as long as it did, in all honesty. So I get all the people that are upset, but at the same time, it's just like modern comics are weird.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I'm just like, the fact that there really isn't, and this isn't me, yelling at kids to get off my lawn, or talk about the fact that I used to be with it and then I wasn't with it, and it all happened to you too. I could keep quoting Grandpa Simpson like all night, but it really strikes me that getting rid of a solid continuity kind of allows like writers and creators to tell short form stories and kind of freeze them up because they don't have to like play in a particular sandbox. But on the other hand, it doesn't really attract long-term readers.
No, you're right.
And I think entertainment just in general these days is kind of very disposable. So it's just like, it's not that I'm like, well, what's the point of comics? Because, it's a business. They're going to want to keep it around as long as they can. But it's just weird to be at this point where I'm just like, man, I'd like to pick that up, but God, I really just don't feel like it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Action Comics in 2024 having short-term writers doing like little stints, whether it be 3-issue miniseries or whatever they might be doing. It allows people to pick up the book and not feel like they're coming into the middle of a year-long saga at some point. So it could help sales and bring some more fans to the book.
I'm also curious if they're just... I remember Stephen T. Siegel telling me back at DragonCon a couple of years ago that one of the reasons that when he was writing Superman in 2003, one of his marching orders was, don't do anything that'll get in the press because we're trying to get this movie off the ground. And I'm kind of wondering if they're just wanting to tell kind of like entertaining stories, but nothing that's gonna like be big, because they're saving the big stuff, like the truly big stuff, for when the movie comes out.
Yeah, Mind the Gap says
but
that
also
a little bit. Says if a new movie is coming, people at DC will want to make movie-ready stories. They usually do. Excuse me.
I'm just kind of shocked with the popularity of Superman and Lois that we're not seeing more like trade paperbacks of Superman and Lois stories. Maybe they don't sell. I don't know. Again, this is one of those things that fans sit around and ask questions that probably have like quantifiable answers. Because the people that decide what trade paperback is going to get put out next, they're looking at like a charts and graphs, and probably a PowerPoint presentation.
Probably looking at analytics and all those kinds of things to figure out what does and doesn't sell. But
there's metrics on these things. There really are.
Yeah. Machine learning and all that kind of stuff. But let's see where things go with Action Comics moving in 2024. But I just wanted to mention that recent issue. All right, let's jump into our break. We're at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break, come back on the flip side to do our fan favorite segment, and then get into more comic book news and other stuff happening in and around the world of Superman. We'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
As the airline that flies to more countries than any other, Turkish Airlines is pleased to announce a new destination, Metropolis. A city reborn, rebuilt, and stronger than ever. Proud of its heritage and its heroes.
Well, thanks to LexCorp's substantial contribution, Metropolis is now open for business again.
Come visit the city of tomorrow. Today.
We can't wait to welcome you.
Book your flight now on Turkish Airlines.
There you have it. That was our Turkish Airlines commercial from back when Batman v Superman was about to hit our screens, or was on our screens.
I cannot begin to fathom how much the rent in that apartment that woman was living in was. That's got to be at least $10,000 a month.
Could be in a hotel.
God,
Might have been a hotel room.
That's entirely possible, which means it's probably about $1,200 a night.
Very good. So, yeah, some interesting ads that we've seen over the years. All right, some new names in the comments. Uni Kutan, one of them, and Horse Girl asking about Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman, or saying that they're looking forward to it or waiting for it. We don't have any update as to when Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman will premiere on Adult Swim, but we do know from our recent interview with Josephine Campbell that most of the episodes have been written, and Season 2 production is well underway, so, it can't be that far away. Obviously, it's just probably a scheduling thing as to when is the right time, what's the right month, when is the right time of year to premiere the new season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think we're all looking forward to it at this point. It's just it was just such a good show.
It was.
So
I think it surprised a lot of people with how good it was. All right, so let's get into the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, our fan favorite question from last week was, what is your favorite alternate Superman costume? And we had a few people send in their responses. Who do we have first, Michael?
Yeah, Almando wrote in and said, I love watching your videos and thought I would participate. These three are some of my favorite alternate Superman costumes. They're part of a set of 40 different Superman and Superman adjacent costumes I drew and put together earlier this year. I'm a big fan of the Bruce Timm style and thought I would draw the Man of Steel in that style. All 40 Superman range from Superman's 85-year history, and I hope you like them.
Very cool.
Those are neat.
So he's obviously got a lot of drawings that he's done of different costumes, and these are just three that he sent in. So thank you for that, Armando, and thank you for participating in the fan favourite segment of our show. All right, next up we had JP Rocho, who said, my favourite alternate Superman suit is black. but it is from 2015's Superman Lois and Clark mini, where the Superman of post-crisis finds himself in the world of New 52. Yeah, that was a cool costume.
Yep, it absolutely was. I loved that series. I remember.
Yeah, it was a great series.
I was right at the tail end of the New 52, and I was just like, oh, wow, it's a Superman that's actually doing something.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Thank you, JP.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote in, my apologies. I had written a message last weekend with my favorite Superman greeting card and card decal, but somehow I accidentally saved it as a draft message instead of sending it. If you're still interested, attached are the images for my favorite Superman greeting card and favorite Superman card decal. The card was given to me by my mother for my high school graduation, and I have kept it and proudly displayed ever since. And the decal decorated the rear of my last vehicle, a Nissan Quest minivan. As for my favorite alternate Superman costume, it would be the black recovery suit from The Reign of the Superman. I also thought that the live adaptation of the suit on Lois and Clark was pretty cool. But since I know you asked for costumes other than the black one, I'll mention the Superman Blue Energy Containment suit. I know this received criticism for some back in the 90s, but I liked it. So much so that I used it as the costume for a Superman Blue-like character I created for a DC Comics RPG I was once involved with many years ago.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Ryan, for participating in a couple of different fan favorite questions there. Thank you. You have one, Michael.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Hunter Prey costume. I know it is 90s-tastic. It's got pouches, it's got gauntlets and stuff like that, but the Buccaneer boots and the headgear and all that, it was just a really nice alternate costume for this story. And even though there was the Kenner action figure, and then there was kind of one for the Mattel, we haven't gotten a really DC Direct style version of this, and I'm kind of surprised by that. Yeah. Considering DC will sell anything related to Doomsday and the death of Superman.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, that's a good one. I couldn't really think of one that I really like, but I would go with Ryan in regards to the Blue Energy Superman suit for the electric powers thing, only because at the time it was really interesting to be running the website when that was happening, and we were documenting all what the powers were and trying to create an archive of the information about what powers he did have and what did the containment suit do and all that kind of stuff. So just because it's a bit of nostalgia for me looking back at that period of time.
Yeah, that was in dial-up era too. Wow.
Yeah.
For most people. No, it's funny. I always say this when it comes up, and I remember, by 1998, when we got right before Superman Forever, the special that kind of brought everything to an end and restored Superman to his classic costume. I remember being kind of annoyed and I was ready for it to be over, but for a story that seems to be derided, man, there's a lot of merchandise out for it. Every time they do a line of figures, there is a Superman Blue, at least a Superman Blue, usually a Superman Red and Superman Blue. So I think it's because it's such a visual idea, and I don't know, some of the people watching may know this. At the time, at these Superman summits, everyone was involved, including the colorist, and colorist Glenn Whitmore was the one that suggested that story because it was a new take on the Silver Age imaginary story. So there were a lot of good stories in that era, and I think it's a shame that the first trade didn't seem to sell as well, because I think I would have really liked for them to have collected that whole thing. Maybe they'll do it in an omnibus someday.
Yeah, for sure. Mind the Gap in the comments says he likes the shirt and jeans costume and wouldn't be bothered if they used it in Superman Legacy. And Michael is showing that on his t-shirt right now. Yeah, short sleeve t-shirt with jeans and boots. Friend of the
homepage, Michael Kelly, saw me wearing this year at Dragon Con. He's like, I thought you didn't like the new 52. I'm like, yeah, it's over. It was a nice t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked it.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, you can like certain things without liking the whole lot. But talking about the comic books, here is what's available this week in the world of Superman comic books if you are looking forward to them. And one of them was reviewed by our own Michael Bailey, who, yeah, got out of the rut of not doing any comic book reviews and has returned after a year. I think it was a year ago that you did the 30th anniversary Death of Superman anniversary special. So here is what we have to look forward to. We've got Supergirl Special #1, which is available in a couple of different variant covers. And there's one with Crypto on there. And then we've got the one that we just mentioned, the Return of Superman 30th Anniversary Special #1 one-shot. And that is available in a couple of different variant covers, which I will get you to talk about shortly, Michael, which obviously mimic something we've seen before. And there is that one there. And then there's the John Bogdanov image that's been used as a cover, and then another version of that wraparound cover. And we've also got the Super Sons Omnibus Super Duper Edition hardcover. And there's also a JLA JSA Virtue and Vice trade paperback 2023 edition available this week as well. But yeah, the 30th anniversary special of Return of Superman. You wrote the review, which will be up on our website tomorrow. How many of the covers did you get, or did you get it physically, or will you just be getting it digitally?
I'm waiting on my order. I had to pre-order it. My comic shop closed. Jared, who owned First Edition Comics. God, I hope I got that name right. I have kind of a headache tonight, so things are not coming. Which was really sad, because that shop, I was there kind of for like the birth of it, because Jared and his husband bought a lot of fixtures from the Office Depot I was working at that was closing. So that's how I got to meet him. And at first I thought it was going to be like this pretentious, like hipster comic shop, but it turned out to be just a really, he made a go of it. Thankfully, he got out not because he had to, but because he had done everything he had set out to do with the shop. But he was always really good at like when Action Comics 1000 happened. Not only did he get everything I ordered, but the Wednesday it came out, I couldn't get to the shop. I had to wait till Friday, and he actually came to where I was working and brought me all my stuff, and I went in on Friday to pay for it. Last year he got me all the Death of Superman 30th anniversary covers. I'm trying to remember what I ordered, because I ordered it like 3 months ago. I think I got all the die cut covers. I will be hunting down that John Bogdanov one, just because I really like it. And I don't know why I like the foil covers, but they're kind of neat. They have no value. They have no, like, they're not like artistic. They're just shiny. But that's the main cover, though, is incredibly impressive. Really, really like that. The detail on the Cyborg Superman alone is worth it.
Yeah, so your review comes out tomorrow on our website. Looking forward to fans being able to read that. Yeah, that is out this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, October 31st on Halloween. If you're a keen comic book fan, or you want to get back into it, or just want to remember and reminisce on the 30th anniversary of the Return of Superman, that is out this week, and well worth a read. Before I move on, before I forget, because I know I probably will as we wrap up towards the end of these final 15 minutes of the show, here in Australia, you need to be aware, because you guys move into daylight or out of daylight savings mode, Michael, there in the US this coming week, I believe it is the 4th of November or something like that. You guys adjust your time,
Yeah.
that will affect us. So if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, their time will move forward, will move later, 1 hour further. So later in the day by 1 hour as of next week for the remainder of our summer here in the Southern Hemisphere. So if you're in Sydney like me, the show will start at 2:30 p.m. next Tuesday. But it still remains at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time in the US, which is 10:30 Eastern time in the US. So just wanted to make note of that in case anybody was going to get caught out. All right, so what else do we have to check out? Oh, the convention appearances. A number of interesting conventions happening this coming weekend. If you're a fan, turn that one off right there. All these Supermen will be at Rhode Island Comic Con this coming weekend for different amounts of time. Let me go through what you've got. You've got Tyler Hoechlin will be there on Saturday. Dean Cain will be there on Friday and Saturday. Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, and Harry J. Lennox will be there on Saturday and Sunday. Brandon Routh, Gerard Christopher, John Schneider, Tim Daly, Jordan Elsas, Alex Garfin, John Glover, and Nolan North will be there across all 3 days. And Peter Facinelli will be there on Sunday only. And on the comic book side of things, Jay Lee, Keith Williams, and Paul Williams will be there for all 3 days. So that's a pretty cool turnout if you're in the Rhode Island, Providence area.
Yeah, that's an impressive number of Supermen. I know they're not all there like on the same day, but I'm kind of wondering if they were, would they have done like the photo opportunities and how much getting all 6 together would have been.
That would be impressive. Also, Twin Cities Con in Minneapolis, Minnesota is on from November 3rd to November 5th. Jamal Igle will be there across all 3 days. And then Grand Rapids Comic Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan is on those same days, November 3rd to November 5th. Kenny Porter and Evan Doc Shaner will be there across all 3 days. And then in Australia, Supernova in Adelaide here in Australia is on from November 4th and 5th. And Joshua Orpin from Titans, who played Superboy, will be there for both days. So that's the conventions taking place this coming weekend that fans should get out to meet some Superman stars and artists and writers.
Absolutely. That's it's not that I can make it to Rhode Island and because I have to work this weekend, but that would have been one that I would have wanted to go to if it was local, just to kind of meet all of them, especially like people like Tim Daly and Brandon Routh, who they don't normally come to Dragon Con. So, and I can't think of, I guess Tom and Tyler are the only two that are really, Brandon was there in like 2006. I remember. Not 2006, like 2008, 2009. I could never get near the table. The line was always extremely long.
One day. JP reminds me that we didn't give the new fan favorite question. And sorry about all these commercials. The new fan favorite question is, what is your favorite version of the Supergirl costume? So Supergirl's getting a chance. It can be the regular version, whatever version of the Supergirl costume. And Michael had pointed out that there was a blue skirt version in a comic book from the early days. So what is your favorite version of any Supergirl costume, whether it be live action, comic book, animated, whatever you might like to, whichever one you want to pick, your favorite Supergirl costume? That is a fan favorite question. And the email address is on the bottom of your screen, info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com. And we will read out and show the results of your favorite Supergirl costumes when we return to the fan favorite question next week. Thank you, JP, for that reminder. Appreciate keeping us on our toes.
Yep. No. Thank you. Yes. What would we do without the audience?
Yes, exactly. All right. So on the collecting side of things, Sideshow is presenting the DC Collecting the Multiverse, the Art of Sideshow Deluxe hardcover, a book that looks pretty impressive. Just bringing up the cover for you right there. So delve into Sideshow's epic roster of DC Comics figures and sculptures with this deluxe book, which features insights from legendary artists and eye-popping photography. And Superman obviously features inside. There's the Clark Kent Superman statue that they obviously talk about and give reference to, and how they created that. And just says, and there's one of the other pages of Batman v Superman. So yeah, this book, it's a 296 page book. It is valued at $65 US, and you can order your copy through our website. Check the website supermanhomepage.com for details on how to purchase that. That's pretty impressive.
Looks
book.
pretty cool.
And also from Sideshow, they are giving away, I don't know if it's still available, but this print, it's called Superman Call to Action Fine Art Print. They were doing a giveaway for one randomly chosen person to win a pre-order of this Call to Action Fine Art Print. The heroic print will be available to order or pre-order on November 3rd. Interesting artwork. It's by Jerry Vanderstelt. Kind of like a Tyler Hoechlin vibe to the Clark Kent.
Little bit of Christopher Reeve in there, I think, too, with the hat.
Yeah, definitely the fedora. So yeah, I don't know if the giveaway is still active, but we'll give you details when the pre-ordering of that art print is available from Sideshow Collectibles. So a couple of pretty cool items there from Sideshow. Don't forget, you've also got a chance to still vote in our Choose Your Own Adventures of Superman saga. Chapter 10 is on our website now, and we've got a few minutes, so let me read you Chapter 10. It's called A Step Closer. It says, with confidence, Clark and Lois declared an echo, so they answered the question from last week's chapter. The guardian of the library nodded in approval. Correct, you have passed the first test. The path to the Enigma Codex awaits you. They were led deeper into the labyrinthine... Is that how you pronounce it? Labyrinthine library, facing a series of increasingly challenging riddles and puzzles. As they successfully solved each one, their knowledge and wit were put to the test, and they grew more attuned to the enigmatic nature of the dimension they were in. Finally, they reached the heart of the library, where the Enigma Codex rested on a pedestal. It emanated an otherworldly glow, and the intricate glowing text within beckoned them to seek its wisdom. Lois looked at Clark with a triumphant smile. We did it, Clark. The Codex is within our reach. Clark nodded, his eyes fixed on the ancient tome. Let's get the Enigma Codex and bring it back to the Council of Guardians. This is a significant step towards stopping the interdimensional threat. Just as they were about to reach for the Codex, the Guardian of the Library spoke. Before you take it, remember that with great knowledge comes great responsibility. I heard that one before. The Enigma Codex can reveal secrets of immense power, but it can also be a double-edged sword. Use its wisdom wisely. So what should Clark and Lois do next? Take the Enigma Codex and return to the Council of Guardians immediately, or pause and contemplate the Guardian's words before deciding what to do. You can vote now at our website, supermanhomepage.com. Those two options are available to you for you to vote so that we know how to continue the story for Chapter 11 of the Choose Your Own Adventures of Superman.
It's very exciting.
So just something we're trialing at the website just to keep fans interested while things are a little bit slow at the moment in the world of Superman.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, we didn't have much to talk about, and like what could I like kind of bring up at the end to stretch a few minutes. I've been binging through, and forgive me, I did not write down the name of the channel, but there's a YouTube channel where this guy has done deep dives into comic book movies that never made it to the screen. The first one I watched was about the Hulk, and found out that originally the Hulk movie that we got in 2003 was supposed to come out in 1998 to compete with Superman Lives, which is kind of weird when you think about it. But he did a deep dive onto Superman Lives, and if you've seen the John Schnepp documentary, I would still watch this video. It's like an hour and a half long, because what he does, which John didn't have the time to do, is he delves into all the scripts and he did another one for Superman Flyby, and boy, was that a roller coaster ride at the end of it. Because I mean, I remember every day coming to the Superman homepage to see what the latest news was, but it's just like, no, it's McGee, no, it's Brent Ratner, no, it's going to be Wolfgang Peterson. He's going to be doing a Superman Batman movie. And this guy has actually like read the scripts that are available online, and man, there's some weird ideas in those, especially the Superman Lives ones that were before the Kevin Smith one. And it just reminds me of a time and how lucky we are now. Not so much. One, we're actually getting Superman films. You know, up until Superman Returns, it was. I was convinced that it was never going to happen because there were so many false starts. But usually now, when they announce something, you know, unless you're, you know, Henry Cavill a year ago, it's going to happen. Like, you know, they're going to make Superman Legacy. But there was like a point where it just didn't seem like it was ever going to happen. And some of the ideas that were thrown out were really kind of weird. And I almost wonder what reality would have been like if, like, Superman Flyby had gotten made. Where Krypton didn't get destroyed at first. And then the cut of that script where Jor-El was evil. It's just like...
And Lex was Kryptonian in one of them. And
yeah, it was just... It was just fascinating to hear this guy quoting several times the Superman homepage, I might add. Cool. Because you have done many, many interviews, and you were pretty extensive. Like, whenever there was a little bit of knowledge, you would at least put out something.
Well, we've got all those scripts available at our website in the movies section if fans are keen to check out some of those scripts that were that fell by the wayside, that never got made. So if you're keen and you're looking, you know, want to look at something that you might not know about, then yeah, those scripts, for the most part, all of them are available on the Superman homepage in the movies section. There was one that we were asked to remove for copyright reasons, which was interesting because why one and not the others? But yeah, they're I mean, I still got it, but it's just not. There's no link for it.
Yeah, you'll have to email that to me at some point.
So yeah,
I mean, don't email that to me.
No,
Steve.
But look, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. I apologize for the commercials that were playing throughout the episode. I will make sure I turn that off on YouTube so that those mid-reel ads don't continue to bother you when you are watching us live. Apologies for that. But Michael and I will be back next week on Monday, November 6th at 7:30 Pacific time. Remember, that's later if you're in the Southern Hemisphere because of daylight savings ending there in the US. So we'll hope to see you then. Thanks for the company of everyone who joined us tonight. Mind the Gap, Justin Suarez, JP, so many others, Horse Girl, who else was there in now? Michael. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. Anyone who was part of the show live, we appreciate you spending that time with us. And thank you to our listeners who watch the show after the fact. We also appreciate your support. Don't forget everything you want to check out on the Superman homepage. We do daily updates at supermanhomepage.com. Make sure you check out all those details and all those news updates. But Michael and I will be back next week. Until then, I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham and John Patrick Van Pelt, and to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mick.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
Happy Halloween for those who celebrate. We'll be back next week. I'm Steve Eunice. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live.